Time now for the Nick Hart Show. It's presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including A&T Concrete, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Agrigold, All Trade Solutions LLC, AM Transport, Angermeyer Electric, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Country Barns, Nolcon Marketing, Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Diversified Instrument Services, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, DuBois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, the Dunkel Family, Friends of Mason Scheller, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Full Metal Armory, the Grandmothers of Jackson Adams, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hobstadt Summerfest, Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, Hoosier Pain and Posture, IMI Concrete, Engler Family Eye Care, Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Kiesel Wagner Survey, L&B Boutique, Little Miracles, Lowry Ag, Make Your Mark, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, MyTech Systems, National Vet Help, Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Pole Concrete Construction, by Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, by Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, by Tim Barge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicky Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, by Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body. Now, the Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department and 89.1 The Bash.
Hello and welcome to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans sectional championship matchup. This is week 11, I believe. Week 12 coming up, actually. Week 12 for the sectional championship. Gibson Southern getting a big win, 48-14 over the Washington Hatchets at Hatchet Hollow this past Friday in round 2 of sectional play. Excuse me. Big win, though. We'll go through the scoring summary here, let you guys know what all happened. And I got to say, felt like a business trip. Gibson Southern came out and went to work real fast. But 8:09 left in the first quarter. Tanner Boyd connected with Sean DeLong for 17 yards. The PAT was a blocked bat snap and a little bit of a low kick. Extra point missed, making it 6-0. Then at 4:58, Tanner Boyd found Cam Novotny for 6 yards for a completion for a touchdown. PAT ended up being going for 2. Tanner Boyd completed a pass to Michael Herron for that 2-point conversion, making it 14-0. Then going on into close to the end of the first quarter, 2 minutes, 10 seconds left. Mason Scheller intercepted Colton Stowers, able to return it back for 33 yards for a touchdown. But another bad snap on the PAT. Foster found Novotny, but could not get in the end zone for the conversion, making it 20-0. Then the start of that second quarter, 12 minutes. Tanner Boyd found Gunnar Alexander in a seam, wide open down the middle of the field for 34 yards. PAT after from Novotny was good. And then through the second quarter, 8:55 on the clock, Sean DeLong rushed for 9 yards, scored a touchdown there. Novotny with another extra point. That was good. And then 8:19, this is when things started to really turn around. Another 30 seconds later, Tanner Boyd scored from 1 yard out. Extra point was good. And then 5 minutes later, 3:06 left in that first half, Sean DeLong had a punt return for 71 yards, returned it back for a touchdown. He was kind of freezing for a sec, waiting for an opening to happen, found that opening and able to find the end zone right after that. Novotny for the PAT was good, making the score 48-0 at that point. And then close to the end, 3:06 left in the first half. The Titans went for kind of a sky kick, tried to see if they could throw the return team off. Brody Issa returned the kick, able to find an opening and return that kick for a touchdown for 73 yards. Extra point by Ramsey was good. And then no score left until that fourth quarter. Washington getting the 1-yard rush in to make that score of 48-13 with the Ramsey extra point, making it 48-14. Your final Friday night, 48-14. And Coach Hart got some stats here. Obviously fantastic game played. Didn't miss a beat. Had a couple mistakes in the special teams and a little bit slow to start with the defense. But, you looking at paper, you wouldn't notice that. Rushing 182 total yards on the night. Passing 149, a total of 331 yards on offense. And Coach Hart, how do you feel the offense played this past Friday?
Offensively, I thought it was probably our highest level of execution in quite some time. I thought, we were clicking really good. We played well up front, took care of the football. I just thought, offensively it was extremely clean. And kind of like a clicking on all cylinders type of game, just executing at a very, very high level.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Excuse me. But yeah, and another thing, we'll kind of transition into the defense now. Defense held Natchez to 133 yards of total offense, 2 for 11 on third down, 1 for 4 on fourth down. I got to give them credit though. That fourth down play was a little bit of trickery, not trickery, but just a very well ran play. But other than that, defense holding strong, 4 sacks on the night. I'm not sure how many tackles for loss, but held that offense to 133 total yards. And Coach Hart, how do you feel that defense played?
I thought our defense was really good. Gave up a couple of first downs to start, then really settled in. I thought had a good control on the game. Defensively, shut them out in the first half when our starters were in. And I don't think, other than obviously the kickoff return, I don't think they crossed midfield in the first half. I thought our defense, did a really good job. They have some good weapons offensively, and they throw it around pretty well. I thought we did a good job of applying pressure. I thought we were pretty good in the back end, did a pretty good job defensively.
The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is made possible by Full Metal Armory, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Car Wash, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Emerson Cattle Company, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, the Dunkel Family, Friends of Mason Scheller, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Diversified Investment Services, Daywig Meats of Hobstock, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Country Barns, Noel Kahn Marketing, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Angermeyer Electric, AM Transport, All Trade Solutions LLC, AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, and by A&T Concrete.
Yeah, I agree as well. Got to give a big shout out to the Hatchets, hosting a sectional game. The one school I visited this whole season to where the athletic director, has always had good things to say about, how professional the Titans are, the great sportsmanship, how they're a great team. I've heard nothing but bad things from the Hatchet administration. Got to give them a big shout out because they're they're just some great people that love football and are working their best to turn that program around. But a big 48-14 victory. One player I do want to point out that we kind of had a little bit, it was kind of hard, tough for him to find a rhythm throughout the beginning of the season. Really starting to turn things around now. Let me find him real quick, get some stats here. But Michael Herron, one player I want to talk about, leading the team in receiving 47 receptions for 518 yards, got 5 touchdowns on the year. But coach, Michael Herron, like I said, a little bit of a slow start. You can tell he was frustrated, but now he's starting to finally find that rhythm and get some action on the offense. How has Michael Herron's play been able to turn around, what's been a great team, but make this team even more exceptional?
Yeah, Michael's a great talent. He obviously has tremendous athletic ability, but he's a great competitor, and really wants to do well and help us win. For a not huge guy, he's a tremendous blocker on the perimeter as well. He's helped spring several big plays with his blocking. And I think really starting to come on late. He was kind of banged up early in the season, and was playing through it. And he's got healthier and healthier as the year's gone on. And I think that's helped him to kind of really get his game going here in the second half of the season.
We've got the one offensive guy who's starting to make a difference. Make a difference. One guy on defense I would love to talk about too. Just a sophomore, still number 54, defensive tackle Brody Clem. On the year, 32 tackles for loss of the 80-something tackles. About a third of the team's tackle for losses. Also got, I want to say, 9 sacks on the year. How excited are you to see Brody Clem, continue doing exceptional this season, but looking forward, for his junior and senior year, how he's able to continue to hit the gym, continue to get better.
Yeah. Brody's done a great job. He was great for us as a freshman. He's had a great sophomore season here. And I think one of the great things about him is, he can play inside or he can play on the edge. So, as teams are game planning or even through the course of a game, if you're trying to stay away from him, I think Coach Long, our defensive line coach, does a good job of kind of moving him around, not keeping him in the same spot. So, teams have to identify where he's at as you go through the course of a game. But he's a game changer for us up front with what he's able to do. Obviously he creates a lot of negative plays. But there's a lot of things he does that don't show up on the stat sheet with the way he takes on blockers, to free up linebackers or other defensive linemen. And he does a great job. I think sometimes you get guys that have a lot of tackles for a loss, right? And they're just, they're running upfield and, kind of, I don't want to say selfish, but they're trying to make the big play. I think the great thing about Brody, he does it through this scheme of the defense. He's not, selling the rest of the defense out to try and make big plays. He does a great job of playing through the scheme and then making plays.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing that I could have expected from him, but he's not the biggest guy. He's a small kind of bowling ball kind of player, but he's got a burst of speed that a lot of people I don't think really recognize or notice. Have you ever thought about throwing him a linebacker, maybe stunting him on an A-gap blitz and kind of getting in there, getting on the play? But
yeah, we have something, and we've ran it a few times where we kind of stack him, kind of get into an on front and stack him behind the zero. But we just kind of different ways you're seeing it in the NFL with some of those explosive pass rushers, like standing them up and moving them around and stacking them and doing some different things so they can't slide the protection his way or create a double team his way. We have to be creative and move him around and do some different things with him. So teams aren't able to do that.
Yeah, great game of play there this past Friday. One more time, Gibson Southern scoring 48 in those first 2 quarters, giving up a kickoff return in the first half, but the JV team coming in strong the second half, only giving up 7 more points. But your final 48-14 over the Hatchets in round 2 of sectional play in the sectional 30. But we'll go ahead and forget about that game now. Big win, but now we've got another big opportunity here coming up this Friday. But before we get into that, we will go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we'll get into Vincent's Lincoln and even take a look more at this bracket in the sectional 3A. Well, the 3A state championship bracket. But don't go anywhere. We will be right back here on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by National Vet Help, MyTech Systems, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, Make Your Mark, Lowry Ag, Little Miracles, L&B Boutique, Kiesel Wagner Survey, Kathy Solman Photography, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm Agent, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Johnson Commercial Mowing, JMCO Technologies, Jarbo Tax Service, Engler Family Eye Care, IMI Concrete, Hoosier Pain and Posture, Hip Dentistry, Hillside Gardens, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Heritage Federal Credit Union, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, and by the grandmothers of Jackson Adams.
Hello and welcome back to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. This is the Nick Hart Show, week 12 going on now. Got a sectional championship coming up. 2 big victories by the Titans here in the start, taking on Mount Vernon first round with a 40-7 victory, and then taking on the Washington Hatchets this past Friday with a 48-14 victory. Now coming up, the biggest test of the playoffs so far, number 15 ranked in the 3A, Vincent's Lincoln. One of those teams we don't see during the regular season, but always do manage to see them in that 3A sectional playoff. Got a great team, an SIAC team who was tied for 3rd or 4th in the conference. SIAC, a great conference. A lot of great teams throughout that whole thing from top to bottom. But Coach Hart, Vincent's Lincoln, one thing I did want to bring up, I kind of see a little bit of a bitter rivalry here. 2 good teams always battling it out in that sectional play. Kind of reminds me a lot of a North Posey Modern Day. Don't really run into the teams during the regular season, but always a battle in the sectionals. But Coach, tell me a little bit about how we've kind of prepped so far this week for Vincent's Lincoln coming up on Friday.
Yeah, I think Vincennes is a great team. I'm on the, when you kind of look at them, they lost their rights early in the year, and then they lost 2 games without their quarterback. Is how they ended up with 3 losses, and the Hunt kid at quarterback's a difference maker. So you kind of throw those out. In my opinion, they've only lost their rights. I'm on the IFCA board, and they've been in my poll, the entire year. Because of what they've done over the course of their work. I think they're one of the top teams in the state with what they're able to do. We obviously played in a shootout with them last year. I think both defenses are better than they were a year ago. So I'm not sure that you're going to see that type of game. But I think that's where they've really improved from last year is defensively. They've made some big strides on that side of the ball, and you kind of look at their scores and, keeping their rights to 23, and, they shut out Memorial. They kept Jasper to 13. They've really been playing good defense, especially down the stretch here. So they present some challenges there. And then you look at the offensive side, the Hunt kid at quarterback's an exceptional talent. He's a true dual threat guy. Sometimes you play guys that are just runners, right? And they play quarterback. He's a true dual threat guy that can hurt you with his arm or his legs. He does a great job in the passing game. If somebody's not open, of extending plays and running around and giving time for his receivers to get open, which creates challenges for you on the back end. Some dual threat guys just go to take off, and he can certainly do that. But he really tries to extend the play and get guys open down the field, and make big plays, that way. He just does such a great job of that. And on the back end, you have to stay plastered, to your guy and, not letting him, he can extend plays 7, 8, 9 seconds. And that's a long time to cover in the back end. We got to do a great job there. We got to be disciplined in our pass rush lanes and not let him get loose. And, then obviously they have, designed runs and those type of things for him, to get him the ball right away and let him go. And, last year, when we played him, the big play really hurt us. He popped a quarterback counter. They hit us for 80 yards on a trick play, hit us on a post, hit us on another post. They're 42 points, 28 were on big plays and 7 was on a short field. We got to do a better job of making them drive the football and taking away big plays. And I think, we've talked about it on here. It's kind of been the, if you have one complaint with our defense, who I think has played at an exceptionally high level, we've given up big plays. We've really got to limit that on Friday, because they have the ability to hit a big play every single time. Because, Hunt obviously can in the running or the passing game. McCrary kid at running back, hits home runs as well. They're just really solid across the board and have some big play guys. And, I think they're good up front. So they really present some challenges for you defensively.
Yep, I agree as well. I've noticed a little bit of their offense. I see McCrary. I see a lot of Sean DeLong. I feel like they're very similar backs. They're very quick, very fast, very explosive and powerful running backs. I can compare Xander Hunt to Tanner Boyd a little bit as well. Xander Hunt may be a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. But a very two similar teams going to be going at it this week. You talk about McCrary, 146 carries for 913 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns through the ground. He's had 4 games with 100+ yards. And I'm sure a few of those came through when Hunt was out, those few games. But defensively, we'll kind of switch over to the defense for Vincennes Lincoln. What kind of attack are we looking from this Vincennes defense?
Yeah, they do a good job of mixing stuff up, primarily a 4-man front. But they'll jump in a 3-man front. They obviously are going to blitz and they're going to play some games. I think one thing they do exceptionally well is they rally to the football. If you've got a bubble screen and it's there and you block the first 2 initial guys, they have such good pursuit and getting to the football, to make that a 5-yard gain instead of a 13-yard gain. I just think it's something, they do really well. They're extremely physical. They play hard. I think they have really good team speed on the defensive side of the ball. And you have to, when you play in the SIAC, you got to have that type of speed, to compete with those teams. So, like I said, I think they've done a great job of improving defensively from last year, are going to present some challenges for us on Friday.
Excuse me. But yeah, definitely going to be a big test going on here on this coming Friday. Fortunately, the game will be at Gibson Southern. Hopefully we get a great turnout and a great crowd. But we will go ahead and take another short break here. When we come back, we'll get a little bit more into Vincennes Lincoln, and we'll even take a wider look here at this 3A state tournament bracket coming up. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Whole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, Tim Barge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, TYFL, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicki Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body.
Hello and welcome back to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. Got Vincent's Lincoln coming up here on Friday, November the 3rd. Gonna be a little bit of a cold one. I know this weekend it snuck up on me, that cold weather, as I'm now fighting for my life here with this congestion. But big one coming up Friday. Kind of talked about the explosiveness of that offense, a great dual threat quarterback, a good team that's got a pretty strong run game as well. So definitely got to be worried if the threat of through the run and the pass is not. They've been running the game quite a bit more, about 2,100 yards on the ground to about 1,000 through the air. But, Xander Hunt being out for a few games with injury, obviously kind of changing that offense up. But Hunt back probably as close to 100% as he's going to be. So expect a very well-ran dual threat action coming up. But we're going to take a look here at the full bracket of this 3A state tournament here in Indiana. We'll start with the top right bracket here where Gibson Southern is in sectional 29. Tri-West Hendricks going to be taking on Monrovia. Winner of that game will be taking on the winner of sectional 30 between your Gibson Southern Titans and Vincent's Lincoln. Down in the bottom right of the bracket, sectional 31, Batesville taking on Indian Creek. In sectional 32, Scottsburg taking on Big School PAC team Heritage Hills. So the winner of those two games will be playing in the regional. Then look at this top left bracket here, sectional 25, Hanover Central taking on West Lafayette. Winner of that game will be taking on the winner of sectional 26, Glenn versus Knox. Then in this bottom left bracket, sectional 27, Delta going to be taking on Garrett. And the winner of that will be taking on the sectional 28 winning team between Bishop Chatard and Hamilton Heights. Bishop Chatard got that big win, number 1 over 2 Garin Catholic, 21-10 in round 2, but they've still got another test taking on an 11-0 Hamilton Heights. So a lot of action going on in sectional play and championship time for the sectionals. Excited to see what's going on and what's going forward. But let's go ahead and look at the rankings as of right now. Your Gibson Southern Titans sitting at number 3 in the 3A. Garin Catholic number 2. They just lost to Chatard, so I say we move Gibson Southern right into that number 2 spot. So number 2 of the teams remaining in the 3A state rankings. Vincent's Lincoln sitting at 15th in the 3A. One team I've got to give a shout out to, kind of change the subject, but congratulations to North Posey on their big overtime victory over Mater Dei. The first time they've won in 18 matchups. Finally broke the curse. Little bit of controversy there at the end of the game. I got to point it out. I've got some friends from Mater Dei who are blowing my phone up, calling me a cheater. Big play by Jed Galvin there in that overtime first drive on offense. They wanted to say he didn't get in, but I just thought it was a great play by him. Then Gibson Southern Mater Dei, comes back and scores on their drive in overtime. And it looked like there may have been 12 players on North Posey's defense in that final play, but no call, no penalty. So North Posey pulling away a tight one. So got to give them credit. Best of luck in the championship. against a 9-1 Paoli. Hopefully they can do the dang thing and get all the way to that state championship. But let's get back to some Gibson Southern action. Friday, November the 3rd, number 15 ranked Vincennes Lincoln going to be taking on your number 3 and my number 2 ranked in the 3A Gibson Southern Titans. Going to be a 6:30 start time. Going to be a fun one. It might be a little cold. I'm sure the hot cocoa is going to be out in full force. Everyone stay bundled up, but it's going to be a great matchup. Coach, I know it's football season still, but I know we do have basketball starting up here. What's it looking like for the basketball teams?
Girls basketball starts this week with their scrimmage on Thursday, and then they'll open up play next week. So our swimming starts here in a couple of weeks. After that, wrestling, boys basketball really gets started after Thanksgiving. So they've got a little bit of time here. It's just really girls basketball and swimming here. And hopefully a lot of football, through the month of November.
Definitely looking forward to a lot of football through the month of November. But I believe that's all we've got for the Week 12 Nick Hart Show. One more time, don't forget, it's going to be a 6:30 start time Friday night. So Friday, November 3rd, bring all your friends, bring all your family. Everyone show up. It's going to be a fiery sectional championship here. Number 15, Vincennes Lincoln, taking on the number 3/number 2, Gibson Southern in that 3A state ranking. But 6:30 start time at Gibson Southern. Everyone, please show up. It's going to be a huge game. Going to be a lot of fun. And looking forward to seeing everyone. But thank you for listening to the Week 12 Nick Hart Show. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on Friday. Thank you for listening here on 89.1 The Bash.
Thanks for listening to the Nick Hart Show. It's a special presentation of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Young's Auto Body, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, We Simply Clean LLC, Wash Boss, Vicky Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Vertical Tile Incorporated, United Fidelity Bank, TYFL, Triad Fabricators, Titan Construction Partners, Tai Chow, Tin Barge Seed, Stodgel Monuments, Stodgel Funeral Home, by Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Shearer Monuments, Scherer's Carriage Inn, Sandy's Pizza, Roberts Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, Ripco Systems, by Remax Revolution, Rawhide Golf, Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, Perfect Climate Heating and Air, National Vet Help, MyTech Systems, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, and by Make Your Mark, Lowry Ag, Little Miracles, L&B Boutique, Kiesel Wagner Survey, Kathy Salmon Photography, Casey Gray Fuquay State Farm Agent, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Johnson Commercial Mowing, JMCO Technologies, by Jarbo Tax Service, Engler Family Eye Care, IMI Concrete, Hoosier Pain and Posture, by Hip Dentistry, Hillside Gardens, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Heritage Federal Credit Union, by Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, the Grandmothers of Jackson Adams, Full Metal Armory, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Car Wash, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Emerson Cattle Company, by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, the Dunkel Family Friends of Mason Scheller, by Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Diversified Investment Services, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Courtney Barnes, Nolcon Marketing, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Engermeyer Electric, AM Transport, All Trade Solutions LLC, AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, and by A&T Concrete. The Nick Hart Show, a special sports production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department, and your home for the Titans, 89.1 The Bash.